Brent and Ryan in the morning. Good morning. I'm Brent.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is Brent and Ryan in the morning.
So Brent, I was wondering, how's your week been? I haven't seen you much this week.
It's been an interesting week. This week I've been single parenting. My wife has been down in Florida with our kids ministry volunteer team and at a kid ministry conference, and they've been telling me all kinds of stuff that they're learning every day, and they're loving it. It's great. I can't imagine it has anything to do with the fact it's in Orlando and not in Des Moines, but hey, they say they've got a lot of things that they want to implement when they get back, and I'm excited to see what they'll do.
And they're going to be punished for being in Orlando because they're coming back to sub-zero temperatures.
They are. In fact, I just got a message Thursday that said they were trying to adjust their flight because they might not be able to get here, but
yeah, they're going to show up on Tuesday next week.
I will say, I have a new appreciation for my wife and what she does every day as I've tried to manage my kids' schedule. So it's been, honey, I love you. Thank you for everything you do.
Absolutely. Well, beyond personal life, how's the Bible reading going in the Immersed Bible?
You know, it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. It's been good reading this week. I will say, as we've come to the end of the last couple of days on Thursday and Friday of this week, things took a very serious tone, that's for sure. When you start talking about the crucifixion, it gets dark. But I will say there were certainly some funny moments leading into that.
Yeah.
I love the story where they're getting ready to do the Last Supper. And Jesus is like, hey, go get us a donkey. And I thought, oh, you're just going to steal somebody's donkey. I mean, like Grand Theft Donkey here. Yeah. What's going on, you know? And then it's like, they're like, well, what do we say if somebody stops us? And Jesus is like, oh, it's cool. Just tell them the Lord needs it. So, Ryan, I need your car keys. The Lord needs it.
Well, if the Lord asks.
Thank you. If the Lord needs it.
Absolutely.
What about you? Did you pick up on anything funny?
Yeah, we finally, right before Jesus' arrest, we get a story where the Pharisees finally understand one of Jesus' parables.
How'd that go for him?
Well, he's telling a story about a wicked tenant, farmers, and they realize at the very end of the story, oh, we're the wicked tenants who kill the son in the story. Right. And not exactly a good moment for them. They can't win no matter how it goes.
Not
they
at
just
all.
Can't win.
No.
But reading these 2 days, I did understand it got somber. We go through Jesus' arrest, his death, and the resurrection. And in all that story, in the arrest, what struck me, and maybe it's just because I preached it last Sunday, so these things jump out to me. Yeah. But he talks about, as they're arresting him, he says, this is your moment. When darkness reigns. Right. And because they never arrest him in the temple, he says, but they only come at night. Just like Jesus says, I am the light of the world, the darkness has not overcome it. But these people, in their sin and in their evilness, only operate in the shadow of darkness.
Right. In fact, the entire trial and everything takes place at night. Right. And what's so fascinating to me is after he's arrested and they're dragging him back and forth to different places to be tried, you know, you hear in there repeatedly, like with Pilate, he's like, he's innocent. I find him innocent.
Right.
And yet it's this interesting dynamic where they really don't have anything to charge him with. He's found innocent, but they're still able to get him crucified to the point where they would rather have a criminal released, a known criminal, and have Jesus crucified. And so it's this incredible moment, but it doesn't end there.
No,
you know,
not
the story is not over. And I think sometimes we as Christians, we focus on the cross, which we should. The cross is an amazing thing. Jesus takes our sin. The victory is won on the cross, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
But you cannot separate the cross, what happened on Friday, from what happened on Sunday and the resurrection. Because as believers, as people who follow Jesus, everything we believe, our entire faith hinges on the resurrection. In fact, we have no faith if the resurrection doesn't occur. Right. I mean, he's just another dead prophet, but he's not. He rose again, and so the resurrection is crucial, and that's where we move to. And then we move to that resurrection story, and we have to, again, give a shout-out to the women.
Yep.
The women are the first to be at the tomb. They're the first real apostles that really happened, because if an apostle is someone who is heralding the resurrection, it's the women who are the first ones and go tell everybody else about what was happening. So it's an amazing story.
Yeah, there's this incredible story. All the disciples, they don't know what to do. But then we get to the last chapter in Luke, last few pages for us in our Immerse Bible. I love, there's two guys walking, it says, down the road on their way to Emmaus. And a guy shows up, and we know him to be Jesus, but they don't recognize him at all. And they have this really funny story that goes back and forth. Brent, what you were telling me what jumped out to you in that story.
Oh, well, as Jesus is interacting with these guys and they're walking, he's like, oh, well, what happened in Jerusalem? Because they're talking about all the hubbub. And they're basically like, you must be the only person in the entire city who doesn't know what's happened, who hasn't heard. And really, that's striking.
Absolutely.
Because I think sometimes we can think, oh, it's just this resurrection, this no-name guy that really didn't have much impact. No, the way these guys are talking about it, everybody in the city, the whole city's in an uproar because Jesus, they can't find his body, and they're claiming resurrection. So it was a big deal.
It was a big deal. And what I love about the story is that Jesus unpacks the Old Testament scripture with these guys, and he shows them how everything that happened to Jesus, and they still don't realize that he is Jesus, was kind of foretold in the Old Testament, and it all lines up completely. And then at the very end of the story, they realize who it is, and boom, he disappears. And they say, didn't you notice your heart burned within you the entire time he was unpacking the scripture? That's how I feel every time I preach the Old Testament.
If only the rest of us felt that way too. Well, we get to the end of the reading this week, and we're finally done with Luke.
Correct.
Kind of.
Because he has a part 2.
He does have a part 2. And so that's where we start next week, we have as the book of Acts. And things continue to get crazy and change, and the church explodes. And there's going to be some awesome things that we read next week. So this has been episode number 5 of Brent and Ryan in the Morning. Hey, if you've enjoyed these videos, make sure you do a few things. Like it. Click that little thumbs up right down here. Share it to your friends. Put it on your news feed. And leave us a comment. What do you like? What do you not like? What's going on in your reading that you're getting? Maybe it's the funny things that pop out to you. Maybe it's the serious things. Maybe it's the things you've seen for the very first time. We want to see you guys interacting with these videos as well. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Although I need the light to remind me to look at the camera and not the door.
Look at the camera. That's why I angled us.
Nice mugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Professional looking.
Professional.
That's
We're no slouches. We rented this sweet studio apartment in downtown Des Moines just for this.